Hello everyone, I hope you're doing good. In this video we are going to work on creating this notebook widget that you see on the screen. So as you can see, there are three different tabs here: motivational quote, to-do list, accomplishments. What we're going to do is we're going to work on creating that tab and then also creating that frame within each tab. So the way notebooks work is, there's the overall notebook, which you see over here. There's different tabs you can navigate to, and then each tab has its own frame, and each frame is going to have basically whatever we want it to have. So motivational quote will have the quote, to-do list will have the to-do list, so on and so forth.
We are interrupting this program to deliver an urgent announcement to all citizens of Earth.
Our program contains a total of 4 classes: main window, motivational frame, to-do list frame, and accomplishments frame. Classes are the blueprint for creating objects. Classes, for example, make our code more readable and maintainable. As mentioned, the motivational frame class is the blueprint for displaying motivational quotes. In the future, if you need this class, that's called creating an instance of that class. As you will see throughout this course, we will create a class and then we'll create an instance, an example of that class. This diagram is one that I really like. So let's say we had a box class and it had different properties like the side length and the color. One instance of this class, we can have a side length of 3 and the color is blue, and then a whole different instance of this class, this special occurrence, has a side length of 5 and the color is red. Check out the quiz question below to test your understanding of this. Let's write our main window code. Let's go. Class main window. And then what we're going to do is pass in this right here. And later, we're going to call that to create that main application window. Let's talk more about what this line of code does. This line declares main window as a subclass of tk.tk. So main window is the subclass, tk.tk is the base class or the superclass. Why is this important? Main window can now use tk.tk's functionality. For example, the ability to create a GUI. So we can inherit what we want, but also add our own little flavor to create our own program, as you will see in a second. This idea is known as inheritance. Check out the quiz question below to check your understanding. But before then, let's create our init function. What do we want to happen when we create an instance of main window? And what we want to happen is to call this to create our main application window. So this is like the super class over here. So using super and this syntax will help us accomplish that. Okay, great. Yeah, we can delete that. It's going to be red, but we'll fix that later. So now what we want to do is actually let's take this right here and we can we can paste this here. So what we're going to do is use self to help us do that. So now self.title is going to be habit tracker instead of root. And self used to be a little bit confusing, a bit confusing for me, but I like to think of it as myself, and it's going to sound really simple, but like myself, I have eyes. Myself, I have hair. And it's the same thing for main window. Main window has a self. Main window self has a notebook. Main window self has a title. And it can just help us to create different variables, access different things, and just handle all of that great setup. So yeah, we have that over here. And now I actually want to create the notebook. So self.notebook. So TTK has the notebook that we'll use. And we're going to pass in self. So self refers to main window. And this is helping us to establish like the hierarchy, like between main window and main window has a notebook. So that's how I like to think of it. And we need to import that. So let's use PyCharm to help us do that. So now it's imported. So now let's handle this error over here. So basically when we run our code over here, we want to create an instance of main window. So for example, when running our code, let us write out the syntax for this. So if name is equal to, not me cracking my fingers, main, what we're going to do is let's create a variable called root. Let's keep it consistent. And let's call main window. create an instance of MainWindow. And then we can just copy the code from up here because we want to run the Tkinter event loop. You know, it's the heartbeat of our application. That kind of hurt this time. Okay, so actually, I believe we can run our code. Well, before we run our code, we created the notebook. Now we're going to use something called Pack to put the notebook on the screen. Pack is really cool because it helps us to like arrange different widgets on our screen. So to do that, we can do self.notebook.pack. So let's see if we have any errors. Did we spell anything wrong? Nope. And we have it. Yay. Okay. So what I want to do now is that you see how it doesn't expand? I want this to expand as I expand the screen. And then also visually, I would like it to fill up both the horizontal and vertical space. So Pack actually has stuff that we'll use. So for example, our fill is going to be equal to tk.both. We want to fill up both of it. And then, not a plus, equals. Ooh. And then also what I want to do is the expand. Expand equals true. Okay. So now let's see. Did I spell anything wrong? Let's see. Yay. So it's filling up the vertical and horizontal. Vertical and horizontal. And then it's also expanding. So let's keep going. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to create tabs, and then later we're going to add tabs to our notebook. So in order to create the different tabs, let's create kind of like the skeleton of what that would look like. So we're going to have 3 other classes that I'm going to create right now. Class motivational frame. And what it's going to do is it's going to take in tk.frame. That's going to help us to create the frame later on. And I'm just going to pass because we're just creating like the skeleton of everything. So then, oops, let's copy this. So we create our other frames. So let's call it, another one is to-do list. To-do list frame. And then the last one we'll create is accomplishments frame. And I'm just adding 2 spaces in between because you can see it's getting highlighted in yellow. So that just keeps our code like consistently looking nice. Okay, accomplishments frame. Let's add another space there. Great. So now what we can do is let's create those tabs. Self.motivational. Does your neck ever hurt coding? Man. Okay, motivation. I need to like lift up my laptop, I think. I think it's too low. But y'all do not care. Let me just keep going. Not that you don't care, but let me focus on the code. Motivational frame. And let's pass in self.notebook. So basically what we're doing here is that's going to create an instance of motivational frame, and we're passing in self.notebook just to help create that like parent-child hierarchy within everything, because frame needs to know like, okay, I'm creating these frames, but for what notebook? So we got to pass that in. And let's create the rest of the tabs. So let's call this to do, and then we can also call this accomplishments. And then we'll call that class to-do list frame, to-do list frame. And then let's also call accomplishments frame. Beautiful. Okay, we created the tabs. Now let's actually add the tabs to our notebook. We can use add to help us do that. Let's pass in the tab and then also what we want to call it. So we can use text, and let's call this motivational quote. Great. And we're going to do something very similar for the other 2. So this is to-do list tab, and we're going to call this to-do list. And then accomplishments tab. Let's copy this. And now let's call this accomplishments. Okay, let's run our code, see how we're doing. And yay! Okay, confetti. Okay, y'all, so this is me struggling to figure out what the confetti command is. I did it before, but I just forgot. But anyway, I later figured it out. We celebrate. So we have our notebook. And as you can see, it has the different tabs. And in the next video, we'll actually work on motivational quote and we'll work on that tab. So thank you so much for watching. I'm going to add some books here so my neck isn't looking down so much. I'll see you in the next video.